Coming up right now on Lifestyle Magazine, the vegan diet. Is it really good for you? What you and your family need to know. And now, the hosts of Lifestyle Magazine, Mike and Gail Tucker.
Right now, we want to welcome someone who's familiar to Lifestyle Magazine viewers, Dr. John McDougall. Welcome, John.
Well, thank you. It's really good to be back.
So how long has it been since you've been on Lifestyle Magazine?
You know, I would guess maybe 10 years.
Is that right?
And an offshoot of the Lifestyle Magazine series was a show called McDougall MD.
Right.
That's right.
Which, you know, we did for many years and still plays.
Yes, it does.
So this is just like home.
Well,
I really enjoy being back. Thank you.
Well, the crew has been happy to see you, and everyone's happy to see you. So,
well, thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, I've got to tell you something. I know our topic today is dairy. And I know that you're not a real fan of dairy, and that's probably putting it mildly. My problem is I love Tex-Mex. So what do you have against dairy?
Well, you know, I don't have anything against good food, first of all. You know, I want to be really clear. And I also want to tell you that what you enjoy in the dairy is basically salt. When I was a young doctor, when I was a medical resident, and I had to take care of kidney patients, one of my toughest jobs was to get my kidney patients to eat saltless butter and saltless cheese. I said, Doc, that tastes like greasy lard. I can't stand eating that.
Really?
So it's the salt you really like. So you can make that Tex-Mex food, make a nice sauce with it, and just put a little extra salt or seasoning in it, and then you can avoid the problems with the dairy. The problem with the dairy basically is it's not human food. I mean, what kind of food is it? What's it for? You know that.
Well, yeah, it would be for a young cow.
Right, it's for a calf. Yeah. So what it's designed is it's designed to grow a calf from 60 pounds to 600 pounds. So what happens when people eat that high-octane fuel?
Yeah. I got you.
You know, they get fat. You know, the obesity and then the type 2 diabetes. And because it's saturated fat, it rots the arteries. You get strokes, heart attacks. It has some special properties to it. Also, the protein is very allergenic. In other words, it causes food allergies. Some minor things like snotty nose and ear infections and asthma problems, but some very serious problems like rheumatoid arthritis and type 1 diabetes has been implicated in dairy consuming. And so, you know, this could be a major decision for somebody as far as it could be a very positive one to give up the dairy in their diet.
Yeah. So if you have a child that has a continual runny nose or something, it could possibly have a relation to dairy in their diet?
Likely. That's the first thing I would think of. You know, if you look around your neighborhood, you see all these snotty-nosed kids that are going to the doctor every month for ear infections. That's not normal. That's not how children were designed to be. There must be something wrong we're doing. And what we're doing wrong is we're feeding them the dairy products. Let me just, I mean, I hate to get so basic, but I have to tell you one of the things that disturbs me so much. They did a study published in the New England Journal of Medicine where they took children who were severely constipated. I mean, they had a bowel movement every 3 to 15 days. That's how bad things were. And they took them off the cow's milk, and 2/3 of them were completely cured of their problem within a matter of a few days. And then what they did is a few months later, they put all these kids back on the dairy foods, and every single one of them became severely constipated. Now, if it was just for that problem alone, you'd get the dairy out of the schools. But it's much greater than that. As a matter of fact, I'd have to tell you, if you were going to really pin me down, you said, look, there's the basic 4 food groups, and everybody knows that the grain and the fruits and vegetables are good. So let's pick from the 2 that we are suspicious about. That's the meat and the dairy. And you say, I'm bargaining, Tex-Mex, you know, I don't know what else you're using in your Tex-Mex food, but I'm going to bargain. I'm going to give up one of those groups, either the meat or the dairy. Hands down. If you want improvement in your health and your family, you got to get that dairy out of the diet.
So even a vegetarian who would eat the meatless Tex-Mex, this is not something that you would recommend.
Not in terms of health.
You would prefer that they eat a steak. Or
well, if we had to get that down to that kind of decision,
not that it's a good choice,
as far as health, it's like choosing, you know,
Yeah.
Gin and whiskey or Marlboros and Chesterfield. I mean, if you're getting down to those choices. But yes, if you want to improve the health of your family, and I'll tell you, not only because I describe dairy as liquid meat, because it has similar nutritional characteristics. The other problem with it, and I think it applies, Mike, I really do, is that people eat dairy guiltlessly. They think this is a block of health food. This is a block of grease is what you're eating.
Well, and that's my question, because we hear all this advertising and things, you know, drink milk, you know, you've got to have this, and yogurt.
Yes.
So are we talking about milk, yogurt, cottage cheese, all of those things?
All of them. We're talking about all of them. The dairy industry has a $200 million a year budget to promote dairy, by the way, in scientific manners. They buy scientific research, they pay for it, they design it, they make sure the results are just right, and then they take and they turn that into a PR campaign with advertisements and so on. And by the way, they've lost a big one just recently. You know that big campaign that says, drink milk, you know, the food that grows a cow from 60 pounds to 600 pounds, drink milk, you'll lose weight?
Yeah.
Well, they were told by the FDA to stop doing that.
Oh,
you
really?
don't have the evidence to support that. And of course, it's completely dishonest.
Yeah.
You know, well, dishonest when it comes to the truth. When it comes to buying and manipulating research, which they can afford to do, yeah, they've got their facts, but it didn't hold up, and they were told to cease. Yeah. So there are a lot of messages like that that are coming out in terms of the dairy industry that need to be straightened out with our listeners.
What do you say to the person with anecdotal evidence? You know, for instance, my dad lived to be 93 years old. Right. Drank a big glass of milk every day. Right. I
probably ate a big steak and put bacon grease on his toast.
Well, he wasn't too much on that, you know, but he did eat meat, but you know, all his life hardly ever went to the doctor.
Right. Worked up until 12 days before he died.
A couple of things. One is life was different back then. You know, that was prior World War II. We didn't have all the pesticides and chemicals in the environment until World War II. Your dad also, he worked hard, labored. A big part of his diet was fruits and vegetables. In your case, I'm sure he didn't smoke or drink.
Correct.
But, you know, I can show you examples of people that may not have the same background you do and say, look, my dad, in fact, I heard one on the radio yesterday, guy lived to be 100 years old, and he said it was because I smoked every day and I drank every day. Hey, the body is tough. We live in an absolute miracle. The human body survives tremendous abuse. But not very many people have those kinds of long lives. And so we have to look at what happens to the great majority of people. And we live in a country where sickness is the norm. Two-thirds of the people are overweight. You know, 10% have diabetes, 1/3 have high cholesterol. There's something really wrong. It's not the human design. It's in the way we're feeding people, and one of the major problems is we're feeding people like they were baby cows, like calves. That's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot more I wish I had time to ask you. I really do. But we're going to have to move on. In just a minute, you're going to meet a lady who changed her life by converting to a non-dairy diet. Right after this short break, we'll be back.
Learn English while you watch TV on Hello Channel.
We're back with Dr. John McDougall, and joining us now is Sabrina Nelson. Welcome, Sabrina.
Hi, thank you.
Glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
So I understand your life was changed by dropping dairy from your diet. Tell me how that happened.
My life wasn't just changed, my life was saved. I was diagnosed with a very debilitating, you know, eventually fatal autoimmune disease, and really had very little hope, and was just told by my doctor that he could teach me how to live with it, which is through some very strong medications. And as a young pregnant woman with two twins who were just toddlers, that really wasn't an answer. That was an answer that you didn't want to get, and that it was very hard to deal with. And it was, you know, a gift that I had a copy of John McDougall's book, which had been a gift from my sister.
Is that right?
And they mentioned the disease I had, and it was lupus, and the disease I had is in that family. And he talked about the relationship between dairy and lupus, and that was it. I said, I'm a vegan, and about 3 weeks later, I mean, it was that fast, and my husband says, okay, I am too. And about 3 weeks later, I had more blood tests done, and there was no sign of the disease. And after about 3 months, my doctor said I was in remission.
Three weeks?
3 weeks.
And already no sign of the disease.
So what kind of symptoms had you had?
If
you don't mind talking about that.
It's a disease called relapsing polychondritis, and what happens with the disease is that your body stops recognizing cartilage, and my doctor describes it as your body being allergic to self. So it starts attacking the cartilage.
Oh, my word.
Well, you need your cartilage. It's around your heart, it's in your chest, there's a lot of cartilage in ears and your nose. And it was, you know, my cartilage was getting chewed up.
Can you imagine your ear flopped over like this? Or your nose basically flush against your face. I mean, it just destroys the cartilage. Plus, very painful. Plus, you know, people die of these autoimmune diseases.
Yes.
And it fits in a category with rheumatoid arthritis and lupus and psoriatic arthritis and ankylosing spondylitis. These are called inflammatory arthritises. And the scientific evidence, even though it's not a lot, Mike, I'll tell you, because there's not a lot of research money out there to pay for good dietary research, but the research available says these inflammatory arthritises are not only prevented, but they're dramatically improved or cured with a dietary change. And there's no evidence to say otherwise. And the treatment's without any adverse effects. And you cut your food bill by 40%. Why wouldn't everybody do that?
What's the downside to that?
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Why not?
Well, that is incredible.
But this was a long time ago that this happened to you, Sabrina.
Yeah, so how long has that been?
This has been 12 years
12
now.
years.
Wow.
And I do, after the internet came into being, I opened up a website, Relapsing Polychondritis, and started doing support work with other people with the disease. At the time I was diagnosed, the internet didn't exist. And in the book, it was listed as one of those diseases of unknown origin. And they knew of only 400 people in the world who had this disease.
No.
But I get letters every single day, many, many letters from people saying this is the only hope that we've had is your website talking, and Dr. McDougall. And Dr. McDougall is very kind, and I forward these emails to them, and he does work with them also.
That's great.
You know, that's a very unusual thing. You know, doctors they need to get paid for what they do. He does a lot of work, you know, just out of the kindness of his heart and just because he wants to help people.
Yeah. Well, he's not been too nice to me. He's taken away my Tex-Mex, but other than that, I think he's okay.
Hopefully I've taken away your future heart attack and the other problems, too. You know,
My husband and I joke about Dr. McDougall being the doctor to the world because he does what he does because he really cares about helping people.
Right.
And I'm one of the people that, you know, he helped without even
you being his patient.
I read his book and then met him afterwards, so I'm one of the many people he helped just by having his book.
Thanks, Sabrina, but I'll tell you why I do what I do. I'm the luckiest doctor in the world. And the reason is because my patients get well. They do. I mean, the other patients, when I used to practice the other way, all I had was fat, sick people carrying around full of bags full of drugs. And that's basically it. I mean, ask yourself, or any of the listeners out there, ask yourself, think about somebody who's gone to the doctor in good faith with a chronic disease. Do they look any different 2 years later, 4 years later, 6 years later? They're fat and they're sick and they just have a bag full of drugs. That's it. And you're supposed to feel good about that? I mean, that's no fun.
I feel you're holding back, John. Why don't you state an opinion here?
On the other hand, that's no way to run a business. You know, where do you get your customers from if you give
Unfortunately, that's the business model there is today, but it could change.
Okay.
And yeah, that is. I mean, the drug companies are where the money is.
But let me bargain just a little bit for my Tex-Mex, all right? Okay. How about moderation?
Well, the problem with moderation is you don't know how much damage you can take without tipping over into a heart attack. Or in Sabrina's case, it just takes a little dairy protein to set up the inflammatory reaction. The other problem is, Mike, is I'm not a moderate person. I do everything with enthusiasm. When I smoked, it was 2 packs a day. When I drank, it was plenty of alcohol. You know, when I ate rich food, it was a pizza, not a slice. So I'm not the kind of person who can moderate things. I live with enthusiasm, as you might be able to tell. And so I need to get
not a real shock.
I need to get enthusiastic about good things, like good diet and exercise and clean air. And you might be a little like me or a lot like me, but I know a lot of the listeners out there that are the same way. Moderation, they can't eat just a little bit or smoke just a little bit or drink just a little bit. It's, you know, you either do it or you don't do it. And if you want to succeed in life, don't try and beat that basic personality you have with it. Live with it and figure out that you're going to do things with enthusiasm and just get good things all around you. And it'll work. It's worked for me.
I think the basic American mindset is that way. We don't do things a little bit. You know, we do it a lot.
For most people, and there are some moderate people, and of course they sit back and they say, well, I don't understand why you can't just have a few bites of that or just take a sip of wine.
See, she can do that.
I know a few people. I'm not very good at that. But I know a few people who can. That they'll take a bite of dessert and they're done. You know.
Well, that's not me.
And, I'm not.
I can't buy ice cream and leave it in the freezer, especially now that the kids are gone. You know, we're empty nesters. And so if there's ice cream there, I'm going to have a bowl every night until it's gone.
You could buy a natural fruit sorbet. You know, I mean, there are other, and you'd learn to like it. It would be your favorite very quickly. And as I say, you can make those Tex-Mex dishes out of beans and enchilada sauce and plenty of vegetables. And quickly it becomes your favorite. And you look back at the old greasy stuff.
It's hard to get them to do that, though, at the restaurants, you know?
Well, you know what?
Not really.
There's other places to eat. You know,
Are you saying I need to cook at home?
Well, whatever.
You're killing me, John. You're killing me.
Or he could cook.
No, I like that. Let's go with that.
That's what a basic...
I've eaten my cooking. It's not anything to write home about.
That's one of the basic truths is somebody's got to cook for you. You can make it a fast food restaurant. You can make it out of packages, or you can do it yourself. Or I'll tell you what I tell a lot of my patients to do. Because many of the people that I know have some means. They hire somebody to cut their lawn, to clean their house. Hire somebody to cook the food for you. I mean, that's your life.
That's true.
That's
true. Well, we've got more with Dr. John McDougall and Sabrina Nelson in just a minute.
Learning a new language can be difficult and discouraging, but it doesn't have to be. Hello, I'm Karen, introducing Hello Channel, the revolutionary new channel designed especially to teach English. If you can speak English, the future is open for you, since speaking English means greater opportunity and higher paying jobs. By watching Hello Channel, you are immersed in this valuable language. You'll hear the words being spoken. You'll see the speakers' mouths when they say the words. You'll read what's being spoken in large, clear subtitles. And you'll speak out loud, practicing what you have just learned. There is no better or faster way to learn a language than total immersion. Hello Channel does exactly that. There's programming on every level so you can watch the shows that are just perfect for you. Whether you've spoken a little English, a great deal of English, or none at all, the Hello Channel has something for everyone. Join us for a convenient, affordable, and fun way to shape your future. There's so much in store for you if you'll just say hello.
Welcome back. We're talking dairy with Dr. John McDougall and Sabrina Nelson.
Well, Sabrina, you've told us how your life changed dramatically. When you were diagnosed with a disease, you decided that taking dairy out of your diet would be the thing to do. I'd be interested in hearing a little bit more about what does that look like day to day for you? What is your lifestyle like now?
Well, my lifestyle is very active. I dance 3 days a week, 2 hours at a time.
Wow.
And I run every day, and I do yoga. And so 7 days a week I have some kind of physical activity. And I feel like the not having dairy in my diet makes it possible for me to do that. I feel like I see other people who are kind of slowing down or not feeling well, and it's like every day feels better for me.
So besides just getting past this disease, it actually just gives you more energy, gives you a better lifestyle,
you don't feel weighted down by something that's very heavy and full of fat and greasy and salty, and I have low blood pressure and low cholesterol, and
you're attacking Tex-Mex too, aren't you? I can tell right now you're doing it.
Rice and beans and vegetables.
There you go.
This is personal, Mike.
Yes, I'm taking this very personally.
And salsa.
That's true. That's true.
I do salsa.
Well, that's good.
That's good stuff.
John, some people ask me about a vegetarian lifestyle. They say, how do you get enough protein? With a non-dairy, non-meat diet, how would you get enough protein?
Same way an elephant or a hippopotamus or giraffe does. I mean, there's so much misinformation out there, and this is what people have to start to overcome. Unfortunately, many of our research institutes and dietitians and scientists and medical doctors still propagate these lies, even though the scientific research itself is absolutely clear. I mean, think about it. Plants have structures and they have enzymes in them made of proteins, and they're matter too that is made of protein, and they have all the essential amino acids, and when you eat these plants, you get what you need. I mean, I've eaten what you call a vegetarian diet for 35 years. And, I'm sitting here alive and well.
You windsurf, you do all sorts of other things.
It is one of those misunderstandings. I think that does block some people from making the necessary dietary changes, just like they think that they need to consume calcium or dairy products to get calcium. I mean, again, think about those big giraffes and those big cows and so on. They don't drink milk.
Without it.
Right. I mean, what a dirty trick for our Creator to play on us to get a necessary nutrient, calcium. We have to risk our life with heart disease and cancer and so on. I mean, what a rotten system.
That
doesn't make any sense at all.
We have to capture those cows, too.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true.
But I feel like, hey, I'm in my 40s, and I'm doing things that I wasn't able to do in my 20s, and I do credit that to living the non-dairy. I think of it as kind of a clean lifestyle, a sober lifestyle. That's
an exciting thought. That when you say you're doing things in your 40s that you couldn't do in your 20s.
That I have more energy for because of the type of food that I eat now.
And of course, raising children, you've not seen any problems with your children's health, have you?
Their pediatrician told him that if all his patients were as healthy as my kids, he'd go out of business. So no, we don't have you know, the ear infections and the weight problems that is so endemic now in our society. My kids don't suffer with that.
They're of normal size, they're active?
My daughters are 5'3" and I'm 5'5", so I think that they're going to be taller than I am.
Okay, yeah. And they're, what, 13, is that right?
They're 13, they'll be 14, yeah, 13 and a half.
Oh, that's great. Well, obviously it hasn't hurt your family, has it?
No, quite the contrary. It's been really good for my family because the kids are really healthy and happy, and they like having the energy to take part in all the activities they enjoy.
That's great. Well, right after this break, you're going to see proof that a non-dairy diet works for kids. Stay with us.
Why should you watch Hello Channel? Because learning English should be inexpensive, and learning English should be available to everyone. If you want a brighter future, join us and say hello.
Sabrina has brought along her beautiful twin daughters. We're going to welcome them to our program right now. Come on out, girls. You're welcome. Glad to meet you. Now, and your name?
I'm Nina Nelson.
Nina?
Randa.
Randa.
Nina and Randa.
Please have a seat. Nina and Randa. Now, you ladies are 13, is that right?
And a half.
And a half. I apologize.
And I notice you look quite a bit alike, and you are
twins.
You are twins. Is that great, being twins?
Well, that's great. Well, let me ask you something else. Now, you eat differently than a lot of your classmates, I will wager. Do they ever give you a hard time about that?
Mm-mm. Well, there was this one time where it's like, you haven't eaten steak, you're missing out. I'm like, no, I'm not.
So, not a big deal to you.
Well, it's like we haven't tried it before, so it's like we don't know what we're missing out on. And it's disgusting to eat a cow.
Okay.
Why would you want to eat an animal?
Why would you want to eat an animal?
Yeah.
That's right. So, do you miss things like ice cream or anything of that nature?
No.
You don't care for it?
Why would I want to be fat?
Well, that's another good question.
That's an excellent question.
It's a good question.
So tell us, what are some of your favorites? What do you enjoy eating?
Well, I like eating salad with garbanzo beans and potatoes.
I'm with you. I like that too.
How about you?
I like eating salad and then I put like potato on it because that's good.
Okay.
That's what we eat for lunch. Yeah.
For lunch? What do you do for dessert?
Well, we don't really eat dessert at lunch, but if we were getting like a treat in dinner, we could either have some soy dream or we could have like some sorbet or like some
it's also
fruit
really
with,
good.
like some sugar on it would also be good
Fruit
too.
with agave nectar.
Is that right?
Strawberries.
With agave nectar.
Strawberries. You like the strawberries? That's good.
Stuff. So do you eat like cereal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you put on your cereal?
I put on soy milk. I think we get it from Whole Foods and stuff. We get a lot of stuff from Whole Foods, and I like it.
Me
I really do like it.
I like it too.
What kind of cereal do you eat?
I forget what it's called, but it's kind of like little flakes and it tastes really good though.
Kashi.
Good.
Well,
there we go, kashi.
Oh yeah, kashi.
We want to thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing your lifestyle with us. We do appreciate it. And you are beautiful young women with obviously a lot of energy. Well, thank you for joining us today. For more information about the non-dairy diet, check our website at lifestyle.org. Until next time, take good care of yourself. We'll see you there.